Welcome to another presentation, another training video by Donald L. Potter. And here we're going to be talking about Blend Phonics Time Fluency Drills. And this is my book right here. You can see what the cover looks like. And so we're going to go inside of this book right here. Okay, so let's get this out of the way and have another picture I want to put over here to go with it. We get started. Okay, here we go. This is another picture here of the book on my table. Here's some crayons, and as the students master a drill, they get to color it in, and there's a calibrated speed for each drill. Now this video today, this training video, this is June the 25th, this 2017. This training video is going to have two parts. They're related, but they're separate. The first is going to be introduction to my book, very briefly, just to let you know what's inside of it and what to do with it when you get it, how to use it. And then the second half of the video, which is going to be a lot longer. So the first part, just stick with me, it's just going to be a few minutes. It's going to be a short introduction. And then when you finish, you can look at the second half, or if if it's longer than you want, you can come back to it later and look at it. Now the second part is going to talk about what fluency is, why fluency is important, and some information on how to develop fluency. And we're going to be referencing 3 of the leaders in the field, and we'll be looking at that at the second half. Okay, now we don't we don't need that anymore. The chart that you're looking at there is in the appendix of the book, and you'll be able to go back there and get a copy of it. And if you're using this book with a lot of students, you can just put it on a copy machine and run off as many copies as you want. Now this is the, let me see here, let me back up a little bit. Here we go. Blend Phonics Time Fluency Drills for Beginning and Remedial Readers. Especially, it's designed to accompany Hazel Loring's 1980 phonics masterpiece, Reading Made Easy with Blend Phonics for First Grade, which is on my website for free. Or if you'd like to buy a copy for $8 and get in some other fluency drills, you can purchase it in a paperback. Mr. Potter's Secret of Reading, this is maybe the most important thing in my book. Look at all the letters the right way and no guessing. And the reason that's important is because in our schools today, students are often taught sight words. And the reason they're sight words is because they're taught to memorize the whole word without reference to the letters. And that's what makes them a sight word. And we actually have lots of thousands and thousands of classrooms in America today where students that don't even know the alphabet are being asked to memorize words. And of course, once they memorize them to read, they have to guess the other words because they can't sound them out. So, or they have trouble becoming independent or superior readers. Now let's take a look inside the book. My websites are www.blendphonics.org, and I highly recommend that site. It's easy to negotiate, to get around in it, and it's a newer website. My older website, www.potter.net, has virtually everything that I've learned about teaching reading, writing, handwriting, spelling, and so on since I began publishing on the internet in 2003. So it's a very advanced website. So I really recommend the first one as being the easiest, and the information's easier to get to. Then later, as you become more advanced, you can get information, more advanced information off my second website. Anyway, here it is, dedicated to my tutoring students over the last 20. I really should have put 30 years. I've been at this a long time. But anyway, who motivated me? But this particular method motivated me to do my best so they could be a success. Here is the contents of my book, and notice there are 6 steps, just like there are 6 steps in Hazel Loring's program. And here is the number of the drills, and here's the page number where it starts, and here's the appendix, and we're going to be looking at that in just a minute here. Again, this first section of the video is going to be very short. The second section is going to be much longer, here's the first step. And the first step has drills 1 through 9. These are all short vowels and consonants. By the way, all the consonants. And these are the units in Miss Loring's book. And then the Decodable Stories is another book that I published called Blend Phonics Lessons and Stories. And it covers all the same material. The difference is this book has timed drills. And this particular book here, Blend Phonics Time Fluency Drills, can be used with anyone from kindergarten and up, pre-K and up actually, but I use it, I especially target second grade and up. First some, but second in particular, second grade and up, kids who got a lot of sight words and therefore have developed a guessing reflex on the right side, right hemisphere of the brain, instead of a accurate automatic decoding reflex on the left side of the brain. Anyway, that's a theory behind it, and you can study a lot about that on my website. I have references to scholars in the field. Now let's press on. Okay, here's drill number 1. This drill has a short A and all of the consonants. So once the students you've taught Unit 1 in Loring's program, or if you're starting with an older student, you can usually just open this book and take off, because they all generally already know the short sound and the consonants. They just haven't automated it. And so you have them read. You can go down the columns, you can go across the columns. Now when you're timing, it's a little easier to go across the columns because there's 5, so you'll 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. When they finish the page, if they've finished it in less than a minute, then you have them start over. And then you figure out the number of words that they've read per minute. We always do fluency drills in words per minute. Now, you're going to be really surprised at the mistakes the kids will make, okay? Sad, a lot of times they'll say said. Wag, let me see. Yeah, pad. They put an N in there. Pan. They try to put an N in there because the D and the N are what we call alveolars. Tap may become tag because letters that go below the line, they will tend to confuse. Okay, so once they can, like quack, sometimes they'll say quick. You'll notice, but when they make, here's what you do. You time them for a minute. You say, okay, go. And then I use a timer, and when the timer goes off, they know to stop. So anyway, so they're going to be reading these words. They're going to be ram, jam, rat, map, man, ham, gnat, pad, mad, dad. Whoops, I missed that one. So when they miss one, I usually put a pencil or a pen pointing over the word. When they miss one, I stop my pointer, and they know, whoop, something went wrong. The less you say, the better. You don't stop, lecture. You are always positive, 100% positive. If the goal for their grade level is, say, 55 words a minute, and they can only do 20 words a minute, well, you write down 20 words a minute, but you say to them, awesome, you got 20 words a minute. You'll be up to 55 in no time. They're fantastic. So you always tell them they're doing good, and they are doing good, even if they don't meet their goal, because you're going to keep working on it. And each day they're going to get faster and faster and more accurate and more accurate. So you're going to see the error rate going down. You're going to see the speed going up. Okay, now the next drill, notice we do the short I. And again, they're going to read these, and I guarantee you when you start doing this, you're going to be amazed. When they see the word bib, you're going to get a lot of kids. They're going to say did, because notice there's a shape there if you draw a little box around those letters. Anyway, I want to press on because I want to keep this particular part as short as I can. Now we take the A and the I, we put them together. Now, kids that master the first two, when they get to this, it's going to be a lot harder because now they have to differentiate, begin to distinguish, and develop the ability to see the difference between the letter, the I, and the A. And again, you'll see them making mistakes. You work on this till they get it. Then we go to the O. And by the way, look at the word B-O-G, bog. You watch. You're going to have lots of students, even older students, that are going to say doll. When they make a mistake, what do? You stop them. You say, oh, look at that again. And I'll often say, remember Mr. Potter's secret of reading? Look at all the letters the right way with no guessing. And they'll look at it and oh, ball, okay. You say, yeah, you got it, let's go. Then you just keep going. And that's subtracted from the time. You can record the errors and the time and then chart the drop or decrease in errors and the increase in speed. But when you stop a student when they make a mistake, that actually slows them down. And so it factors in the error rate. So I generally don't record the errors myself, but you can. It's entirely up to you, and I have charts in the back that explain that. Pressing on. Now, another level. Now we got the A, the I, and the O. And then drill 6, we have the U. And again, you just keep working on these until they can get their speed up. Now we're going to go through drill 9 is really tough because now we got all of them. But once they get this down, you're going to be seeing them develop fluency. And at the end of our video here, when I switch to the next thing we're going to look at, you'll really understand this a lot better. Step 2, final and beginning consonant blends and consonant digraphs. All right, so here we go. Now at the top it tells you the ending blends that we're doing, and they work on those. This is a lot harder, by the way. This is a lot harder than just the 3 letters. And when they start out, they're going to be, they may be struggling with these words a little bit. Then we go to the consonant digraphs, SH, TH, CH, and WH. The NG, the NK. Then we have one here where we're actually building. Like we go from rat, we add a B, we have brat. This is a very good exercise for introducing the beginning consonant blends. Then we have initial consonant blends, and notice there's 2 parts to this first one. And then we have, these are R blends on page 3 right there. Then we have simple 2-syllable words, short vowel words. Step 3, long vowel words, long vowel phonograms, and short words with long vowels. And again, you can see the drills, the units, and the decodable stories. And at the bottom, I forgot to mention, but the phonovisual charts, which are not necessary, but really are a great enhancement to the program, and I use them all the time. We have sample charts in the back. Now we have the long A, and we teach them that the E makes the A say its name. And something that really amazes me, I get kids up even in 6th grade, and I write the word 8 and ask them what it is, and they'll say at. Believe it or not. And they may read on 1st, 2nd, 3rd, even a 4th grade level. When they see the word 8 out of context, they can't read it. So it happens all the time. But once they've gone through this drill and built up an automatic reflex response to these spelling patterns, they won't have that problem. Then we do the A, then we do the I and the E together. There's not very many E's, so we put those together. Then we take the A, the E, long A, the E, and I, we put them together, and so on and so forth. And you just do the same thing with all these. I'm going to go really, really fast. And then you notice we have a review. Then on page 30. Page 31, step 4, R-controlled vowels. And so we do the R of car, then or fork. Then 29, we have the different ways to spell the of fur, and fur is the word that the phonovisual method uses. You could use other words, but that's what they use. Notice the phonovisual method teaches from the sounds to the letters. That's the way blend phonics works. We do not teach from the letters to the sound. We teach from the sound to the letters. And with the phonovisual method, you can actually teach the sounds before you even teach a single letter or what it looks like. And then you start adding the letter, and then you start to sounding out. Remember, teaching reading from the sound to the letter, to the spelling. Okay, review of steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Step 5, we have vowel digraphs and diphthongs. Again, you just go down the columns, across the column. Then 33, we have double E. Again, I'm going to just flip through this really quick. The Y's like I of my and the E of army. The long, by the way, some people think that's a short E. As in, if I say the word candy, is it candy or is it candy? Well, since it's unaccented, technically it should be a short I. But most kids and people hear it as a short E. The dictionaries, you take your choice. The phonovisual method took that as a short I. Then we have the OA and the OE of Rose, the long O. And again, they're going to read these until they can read that page at the calibrated speed. OW, OU, OY. You can see how complete this program is. Double O's, long and short. And then you have a review. See where we mix them up? Again, they'll slow down on those, and with a little practice, they get better. The EW, oo of mule, and then we have the irregular spellings. And again, we'll go through these really quick. The A that says as in ajar, around, asleep. Then we have the actually here we have the short U that says the short word as in careful and book, and we just mix these together so they get practice reading that sound and the different spellings. Then we got the soft S, soft C, the C that makes the S sound, the SH, in sugar and spatial, and then the soft G in DGE, and sometimes before ERY, that's the J sound. And we have the silent GH and so on. 53 is a lesson on silent letters, very important lesson. And again, you're working for that fluency. The S that has the Z sound, the PH, GH with the F sound, the LE and the TION, very important, and the SION with the SH sound. Then the past tense ED, and then we have here one we're adding suffixes ing, y, ier, iest, and ily. Notice we do rob, robbing, slip, slipping, slipped, and so on. Long vowels and open syllables, something that's missing in a lot of the basic, some of the more popular programs. Then finally, we have the 37 Deutschlist words that were not specifically taught in the program, and we put them together here. In Miss Loring's book, we've actually put them in, organized them into groups according to sound. And then we end up 61's our last drill. And those are polysyllables. Now, this is an important page. Listen close. These are the calibrated, minimum calibrated speeds for page mastery. So when a first grader should be able to read a page at a minimum of 40 words a minute. Second grade, 55, third grade, 70, and so on. Once they've reached 130, basically they're done with the program. A school that adopts this just gives this to your teachers. If you get a student from another school that comes into your school and can't read, you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to test them. You don't have to have a spatial program. The classroom teacher who has this in her classroom will be able to have her students time each other, or she can time them, but time each other. And any student that comes into your school that can't read with 100% or like close to 100% accuracy and grade level speed, bingo, you got a problem. How do you solve the problem? Easy. Do the drills until they build up their speed. This almost eliminates the need for a spatial program, especially private schools that maybe you don't have the money for somebody that can do this. I personally, I've taught several Orton Gilling programs. I think they're great, recommend them, and if one of my tutoring students is in one, I'm very happy. But for a lot of students, it's 2 or 3 years, say 2 years for the typical Orton Gillingham program. You can take them through it in a fraction of the time and often come up with just as good a results, especially if you teach this with handwriting, cursive handwriting in particular, as I do. The foundation for phonics on page 71 is, if you've never studied phonics, this is going to be like a college level course just in 3 pages. It comes out of Rudolph Fleisch's book, Why Johnny Can't Read, and what you can do about it, published in 1955. Everybody should have a copy of that book. I have 2 very worn out copies and 1 precious copy with the dust cover, original print, first edition from my friend Sam, my late friend Sam Blumenfeld. This little chart here is pretty cool. It's I have the skills they're going to learn from the bottom up, and you can see the correlation between the step, the unit. I call these associations. Some people call them sound to symbol correspondences, sound to symbol relationships. I like association because it brings out the psychological side of it, of the link that we're trying to make, or the association or reflex. And then over here you can see which drill is associated with that. This is the page for the kids, and I need to slip to the next page actually. Before this page here, each day when they come to me, I write the drill we do and however many times we do it. Sometimes we do it 1, 2, 3. You can also send this home with the parents to do, and you work out the average. If you only do 1, then you just put down 1 and put the average. If you do 2, then you work the average out from that. And then when they hit their goal, the minimum, let's go back now. When they hit their goal, come on, talking to myself here. Yeah, when they hit their minimum speed for page mastery, then the excitement starts, because that's when they get to color in this chart over here. And if you will remember when we started out, there's a chart right there. And you can see this boy has finished step 1, and he is excited. I can't wait for summer tutoring to start here next week, because he's going to be doing, well, actually, he's actually finished drill 10 too, hasn't he? I can see up there we did that in pink. I let him pick out a color, and they color in whichever one they want. I will guarantee you for certain, when they reach drill 61, they will be good. They will be fluent readers, no matter how they came to you when they started. And you do not have to have a college degree in order to teach this program. Parents, teachers, with just what I'm giving you on this video, you're going to be able to teach this with no problem at all. Okay, pressing on. Oops, went the wrong way. I got to click this little thing up here. This here is just stuff you can read. There's an alphabet test I give my students. If they don't know the alphabet, you're working with young kids, I have them do the tapping exercise, and they go A, B, C, D, and they tap it with their finger. And when they get good, then you have them go down the column and up the column. This is for younger kids, but even some of the older ones don't know the alphabet very well. This is the phonovisual probe, and let's go on to the next page. These are the 2 phonovisual charts. I'm not a rep for the company. I just used their program for a long time, almost 20 years, I guess. And 18, anyway. They have color charts. They look just like this, and they're $20 a piece for the wall charts. But I have those on my wall, but I also have the smaller charts. And at the beginning of each one of these drills, I actually tell you which one of these are going to be taught in the drills. And this is all of the speech sounds in English except the ZH, which would actually fit underneath the Z right there. And we do teach a couple ZH words. Treasure, pleasure, measure, maybe 3. Okay, and let's just not, I have videos, other videos that go in depth on these charts and how to teach them. Then this is just some information. This is Miller's word identification assessment. You can read all that. And this is a graph that you can use. It kind of follows precision teaching, although they use a acceleration chart, and you can use those. They're excellent. I basically use this chart here, and you can chart their errors, and you can chart their speed, and you can see their progress over time. Okay, now that's all I want to do with that. That's my book, and that took me 24 minutes, longer than I actually wanted. But that's what happens. Okay, now what we're going to do, and I don't know if I can make this any bigger. It's going to have to center it here a little bit. Okay, this is really important. Hang on to your hats. or your hair or whatever. This is a fluency, achieving true mastery in the learning process. And this is by 3 top experts in the field. And there are their names right there. Binder, Haughton, and then Barbera Bateman. And this is from 2002. I'm going to read this. I'm going to try not go too slow. So if you want to take a break here, you can come back to my YouTube video and take off from here. But I'm going to read through this and explain it. And this is what you need to know. This is what every teacher needs to know. This is what every administrator needs to know. This is what every college professor needs to know. This is what every parent needs to know. This is what every policymaker needs to know about fluency and how we can improve education in America with fluency. And this is why that I wrote my time fluency drills. Now here we go. Fluency, achieving true mastery in the learning process. You're going to learn some new things here if you haven't studied this before. How can you tell whether someone has truly mastered a skill? What is the measurable indicator that a person can really know how to do something? These questions should be at the heart of every teaching decision, every observation of a child's performance, and every evaluation we make about the success of an educational program. Yet for many educators, and certainly for most parents, answers to these questions are anything but clear. Most of us have grown up in a percentage correct world where 100% correct is the best anyone can do. But is perfect accuracy the definition of mastery? Or is there another dimension that makes the difference? In fact, we will see many children and adults who can perform skills and demonstrate knowledge accurately enough given unlimited time to do so, that they can give an unlimited time to do so. But the real difference that we see in expert performers is that they behave fluently, both accurately and quickly, that is, without hesitation. Now, what is fluency? We all know fluency when we see it in a foreign language speaker. We say, she spoke fluent Italian. When we observe a person speaking Italian smoothly, quickly, and without hesitation, it's not just about saying the correct words. It's also about achieving a useful pace or speed of performance. We have a little difficulty recognizing a masterful athletic or musical performance. Carlos Santana, Chris Everett, Michael Jordan, Celine Dion, Tiger Woods, Ray Charles, Bonnie Raitt. If I may, I would like to add some of my favorites. Jim Hall, jazz guitar, and Andres Segovia. Anyway, they have at least one thing in common. Performances are undeniably fluent. They all make the right moves without hesitation. They perform with the appropriate combination of accuracy plus speed, or quality plus pace. Even in people who are less well known than these world-class performers, we recognize fluency as the hallmark of competence. Skilled computer users, mental mathematicians, or expressive readers share that combination of getting it right with ease and fluidity that characterizes all genuinely accomplished people. Fluency goes beyond mere accuracy to include the pace or speed of performance. On a continuum from a total lack of measurable performance to mastery, 100% is only part of the way there. Now take a good look at this chart right here, and let me make sure that I can put a little bit more of this on my screen. There we go. Notice, let's start at the bottom. Notice these are levels of performance. At the bottom we have incompetence, no measure performance. A student that comes to me maybe in kindergarten and they don't even know the alphabet. Then we have the beginner's level. They're inaccurate, they make mistakes, and they're slow. But then they improve and they get up to 100% accuracy, and that's traditional mastery. Parents look at the report card and says, "Woo, la la, look at this, Johnny, Sally making hundreds." But there is another level, and this comes from practice. And notice this practice makes a difference. And that is fluency, true mastery, which is accuracy plus speed. And that is what we seek. to achieve with our Blend Phonics time fluency drills. Pressing on. And I'm going to keep my comments very short if I make any. The article itself is rich and speaks for itself. Can you demonstrate how it looks to perform at 75% correct? Can you visualize a 90% correct performance? The answer is no. That is because with a percentage correct score, we don't know how many opportunities there were for responding. Was it 10, 20, 100? And we can't tell how much time was required to complete the work. Was it 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes? Therefore, we cannot possibly demonstrate or imitate the performance because a percentage correct score lacks the time-based information that would allow us to duplicate it. This lack of essential information built into percentage correct evaluation is at the heart of many educational failures. Since most educational assessment uses accuracy only, it cannot show any difference between accurate but struggling performance and fluent performance. Without measuring time, neither teachers nor learners can set fluency goals or precisely monitor progress towards those goals. It's no wonder then that students in many educational programs often fail to achieve fluency. Instead, they progress by building one non-fluent skill on top of another until the whole skill set becomes top-heavy and falls apart. For example, when in your educational career did mathematics become difficult? For most people, math at some point became too unpleasant to pursue further because its foundation contained too many skills that were not fluent and were therefore difficult to apply. The result of applying too many non-fluent skills on top of one another is emotional stress, a sense of being overloaded, lack of attention span, and in extreme cases, dropping out from school. Why is fluency essential? If you carefully observe children in the learning process, it is easy to understand why behavioral fluency is an essential success factor in learning and performance of any kind. Both informal experience and scientific research suggests that fluency contributes directly to 3 types of critical learning outcomes. This is so very important. Listen very carefully. Here they are. Number 1, retention and maintenance. The ability to perform a skill or recall knowledge long after formal learning programs have ended without reteaching in school year after year. The second is endurance. The ability to maintain performance levels and attention to task for extended periods while resisting distraction. And number 3, application. The ability to combine and apply what is learned to perform more complex skills creatively and in new situations. The Morningside Academy calls this generative learning. Let's press on. There are important outcomes that education is, these are important outcomes that education is supposed to accomplish, but which are sadly lacking in the long-term results of many educational programs. Parents usually see the lack of these outcomes as symptoms or problems that arise at homework time, and when children try to apply what they have learned at school to life situations. Even in relatively successful students who do not falter in obvious ways, a lack of fluency in essential skills and knowledge can seriously limit their ability to achieve the full learning potential of which they are capable. And I want to just interject here that when a student comes to me, yes, my first goal is to get them up to be able to perform on grade level and be successful in their school. But my real goal, my ultimate goal, is to take them to their full learning potential of which they are capable. Please allow me one little story. I had one boy in 6th grade came to me reading on a 3rd grade level. When I got him up to a 6th grade level, instead of terminating the tutoring, I took him through my Webster's spelling book method for teaching reading and spelling. And when he finished that in 6th grade, he was on a high school level, and he left my school and went on to become an advanced placement student. And I'm sure that he would have been kept in special ed if he hadn't come to me. So I didn't just stop when I got to 6th grade, but we continued on. And this is why in the works that I have published material that begins before they start to school, like kindergarten up, but then I also have materials that go far beyond that. Pressing on. Consider the difference between a student who easily completes her homework and another student who avoids homework, completes it with difficulty, and seems unusually distractible. The most obvious difference is a lack of fluency in the second child. For example, on arithmetic story problems dreaded by many students, teachers, and parents, the more successful student is able to read problems rapidly and correctly, calculate answers to basic math problems quickly and accurately, and complete other parts of the problem with relative ease. The struggling student, in contrast, falters while reading a problem, performs basic math with hesitation, perhaps counting fingers to compute basic sums, and may guess which phrases, such as "how many left," indicate specific types of calculations. When students lack fluency in the foundation skills, performance requiring application of those skills is likely to be painfully slow, difficult, and full of errors. Fluency should be an essential criterion at each step in an educational program because it allows students to progress smoothly through the learning process, building each successive layer on a previous layer of fluent prerequisite skills and knowledge. Another way to understand the effects of fluency or automaticity is that it frees up attention for higher order application rather than overload attention with the mechanics of performance. Fluency in foundation skills frees attention for application, creativity, and problem solving, the higher order activities that make education valuable and fun. Parents usually comment that students with fluent foundation skills do their homework independently and enjoy new challenges. Teachers say that these students are a joy to teach and seem to love learning. On the other hand, when students struggle to form letters or digits, they have less attention for composition, calculation, or creativity. When they aren't fluent in basic math facts and they have a hard time paying attention to the teacher's demonstration of long division or adding facts. When students can't read fluently, there's little attention for remembering, comprehending, or enjoying a story or essay. Many of the struggling students are in special education. Most will achieve fluency only with supervision and frequent practice. Too often with these students, mastery to a given level of accuracy is the only goal. When the level is reached, or even before it's reached, the student is typically moved along immediately to new, more difficult material and never achieves fluency in the most basic skills. While the amount of work required and the level of expectation both increase, the student remains mired down, slowly and painfully logging along, falling farther behind and becoming more discouraged. Completing class assignments and homework becomes an impossibility, and fluency is never achieved. Increased emphasis in special education on helping students achieve true fluency in all foundation skills before moving ahead would benefit not only the students, but also their teachers and parents. Central to every special education student's schooling is his or her individualized education program, IEP. Using fluency aims as the mandated measurable goals and objectives would greatly increase the usefulness of the IEPs, making them faster and easier to prepare and facilitating clear, honest, objective progress reporting to parents. Visible, explicit fluency aims would also lead to interventions focused on achieving essential levels of both speed and accuracy, that is, on becoming fluent. How do we measure fluency? While the term fluency has been used with more and more frequency in publications about reading and math in recent years, many or even most descriptions of fluency are qualitative, not precisely quantitative. Authors use words and phrases such as smooth, fluid, rhythmic, having a good cadence, and without hesitation to describe fluency. They contrast fluency with performances described as jerky, hesitant, choppy, containing extended pauses, and lacking appropriate phrasing. But specific measures are lacking in many academic discussions of fluency. The easiest way to measure fluency in most skills is to select a repeatable action such as saying a word or writing the answer to a math problem, and to count how many times a person can complete that action in a fixed period of time. An educational methodology known as precision teaching has identified ranges of count per minute performance describing fluency for hundreds of academic skills. By specifying a range of count per minute of correct responses on specific types of materials and procedures, it is possible to set goals that help both teachers and learners make timely decisions to change or modify educational programs with individual learners. This is precisely what we do with the Blend Phonics time fluency drills. Sometimes we might time a student for 10 seconds and sometimes 2 minutes, but for the sake of comparison, we always do the simple math to reduce our measure to counts per minute. We often keep track of multiple counts at the same time, such as correct, incorrect, and self-corrected responses. Our goal is for learners to achieve a certain range of correct responses per minute and to reduce or eliminate errors, skips, hesitations, or responses that require additional help. We start all timings with a respectful but clear instruction, please begin, and we end with please stop. And I usually use a timer, and the timer dings when it goes off. Anyway, and they know when to stop. It's easy to find out how quickly and accurately skilled people are able to perform. As an example, ask a small group of literate adults to copy a passage of text as rapidly as they can for a minute. Most of them will probably be able to copy between 100 and 150 letters in that time period. Similarly, being able to write correct answers to printed problems like 3 plus 4 at between 70 and 110 per minute, or reading a passage of text aloud at between 150 and 200. Each represents fluent performance. Once we decide what to count, we set aims or performance criteria that serve as practical goals, and we conduct daily timings to monitor progress towards the aims. We use these measures to make decisions about whether to change learning programs, either because students have achieved their aims or because they're not improving and need an intervention to accelerate learning. Passing students on to harder curriculum when they are below fluency aims negatively affects self-confidence and attitude, as well as reducing the chance that they will be able to retain or apply the skill. Millions of students each year fail to achieve fluency on basic skills and require later reteaching on the same skills. This is a terrible waste of students' and teachers' precious time. Reaching fluency the first time supports steady, rapid progress through curriculum without allowing students to fall behind. Achieving gains from building fluency. When we pinpoint key skills, set fluency aims for each, and combine teaching and practice with measures to help students achieve those aims, educational programs, whether school-based or home-based, often produce dramatic results in academic achievement. In an early demonstration program in the 1970s, adding just 20 to 30 minutes per day of practice, measure, and charting of basic skill components to an otherwise ordinary elementary school curriculum increased children's standard test scores by 20 to 40 percentile points compared with other students in the same district. More recently, fluency-based instructional programs have reliably produced multiple grade levels of improvement in a summer program among students diagnosed with learning problems. In addition, fluency-based programs have markedly improved students' ability to maintain attention to task while working on a variety of different activities. Selecting fluency ranges. Since the 1960s, precision teaching practitioners have developed and refined estimated fluency standards for a wide range of skills based on observation of thousands of students and how they have been able to perform after achieving or not achieving specific performance levels. We generally specify fluency ranges or count per minute performance to account for individual differences and to recognize the fact that fluency for a particular skill is not a single precisely defined level but a band on the spectrum of all possible performance levels within which most learners seem to retain and main skill. Performance over extended durations without undue distractibility and apply what they learn to more complex types of performance. This is not an exact science. There are differences in opinion among practitioners about what levels are absolutely necessary for optimal results. On the other hand, most practitioners who are experienced with measuring counts per minute performance can confidently report levels that are not sufficient to support optimal performance, whether or not they agree on the exact parameters or specific fluency ranges. Here are some widely accepted estimates of fluency performance or fluent performance on a range of basic skills. All estimates are correct responses per minute and presume zero or near zero error frequencies. We have included grade level aims for oral reading. Ranges represent good programs towards fluency for students of a given age to reflect the fact that achieving fluency in some skills might require systematic progress over several years' time, depending on development of oral, fine motor, or other component skills. In addition, we have followed the convention of listing the higher limit of each frequency range first to encourage both students and teachers practice beyond achieving the bare minimum of fluency range. And we'll just look at these very quickly. Here we have oral reading, recall, notice grade level, fluency aims, rapid naming of pictures and so on, phonemic awareness, phonics. Phonemic awareness is basically what you got on the phonovisual charts, and the phonics would be the blend phonics. Basic arithmetic, handwriting, typing, spelling. By the way, I include spelling with the blend phonics lessons and stories. And how can we achieve this? Practice is the key to any fluency-based program. Athletes and performing artists have always been aware that focused repetition of important skills is a necessary prerequisite for achieving great performance. Sad to say, however, many educators may not realize this basic principle of skill development. Even those who understand the value of practice, it's important to focus on the right kind of practice to produce the greatest gains rather than on practice routines that are boring, painful, and ultimately ineffective. Some of the important differences between effective practice programs are included. By the way, the students love, as far as I know, all the students I've ever taught love doing my time fluency drills. And notice the schools have students practice sight words, and that is the wrong thing to do. So we're not asking the kids to memorize these words and read them. We're asking the kids to learn to sound out the words in their head so fast, so blazing fast, that it looks like they're identifying them by sight. And that depends on a whole lot of other things, including parallel distributed processing, the things that you can learn about on my website. Pressing on. Efficient practice always has a goal. Athletes are always striving to achieve goals, often motivated by attaining their personal best performances. Similarly, students who have count per minute goals for reading, writing, math, and other types of skills are generally more motivated than those told simply to practice until you get better. As Dante, a student, said, without a practice aim, you're aimless. It's easier to attain full fluency on small achievable chunks or components of a larger performance than to attain mastery on the whole thing at once. This is perhaps the most important discovery of fluency-based educators. When students lack fluency in writing letters or digits, decoding words, saying vowel sounds, calculating answers to basic arithmetic problems, they often have great difficulty combining those skills into larger chunks. One of the most important ways to achieve fluency on anything is to find a way to practice and first master its smaller elements. Sometimes those are called sub-skills. And let me say that in fact, in the last 10 years, I've not had one single student, and we're talking about hundreds of students, one single student, not one, that's been able to write the alphabet from A to Z fluently Many of them can't even write it at all. And we're talking about second, third, fourth graders. What happened? We failed to teach in their school classes. They failed. I, on the other hand, if I may use myself as an example, have taught kindergartners the alphabet and phonovisual charts to fluency. And they literally soared into reading without any exceptions whatsoever. And I can guarantee you they could write the alphabet with their eyes closed at high speed. Anyway, for students who have not yet achieved fluency, practice for short intervals is generally more productive than practicing for longer continuous time periods. I often will tutor kids, like even at my school, maybe 15 minutes a day. Pull them out 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. You can do 2 or 3 students at a time. That way, rather than take a whole hour for a whole huge class of students, and you have to maintain discipline and all that, but anyway, demonstrate this for yourself by, let me see, there's some things there, I don't want to read all that. Pressing on. Practice every day. Keep a graphic record of learning progress on each specific type of skill, which we do. Precision teaching, an instruction instrument and decision-making approach developed by Dr. Ogden Lindsley and his colleagues 1960s, is the best way to manage learning and to make data-based decisions. If students learn to measure and chart their own progress and to make program changes, when programs go flat on the chart, they'll soon discover for themselves what works best, and there's a website that you can look at. When performance shows little or no improvement and is below the aim, try working on a simpler task. Sometimes the problem is that key skills are not fluent. For example, non-fluent digit writing slows down writing answers. In that case, stepping back to practice the component skills can often lead to progress. Working on smaller sets of items, 10 words on a spelling list rather than 20, can often accelerate progress. Separating out difficult items from a given chunk of material, writing certain letters or numbers that are difficult, and working extra on them usually makes a difference. Shifting between fast practice and practice for quality, for example, handwriting, can sometimes break the log jam between quality and speed. Many other forms of divide and conquer can help as students measure their performance and decide how to improve it. Most important is not to move ahead to more challenging skills when the basic foundation is not fluent. What's the conclusion? With what we now know about fluency in all areas of academic performance, not merely reading, typing, or other speed skills, it is certainly possible to help children learn faster than ever before by including the time dimension, that is count per minute, in our measurement methods and systematically making changes with fluency as our goal. We can help students achieve levels of truly masterful performance in reading, writing, and arithmetic. In the same way that excellent coaches and performing arts teachers develop athletes, musicians, and dancers. In the end, it is simply paying attention to fluency that will make the difference, throwing off all the blinders imposed by traditional percentage correct assessment systems and seeing mastery for what it is, the demonstrably useful combination of accuracy plus speed of performance, or simply stated, fluency is true mastery. Okay, there you have it. Here is the bibliography at the end, and I'm going to go through this. I'm not going to read this. We're going to go through it quickly. I want to show you the very last reference at the end of this and explain why this is important. The chart that you saw on the these are, here we go, selected fluency-based programs materials. And as we go down to the bottom, the very last one is going to be Victor Drill Book. You see the Victor Drill Book here? When it was first published in 1970 by a gentleman named Gus Enderlin, whom I have talked to, they actually took the 72 drills from the back of Rudolf Fleisch's book. And Gus told me that the book went out of print for a while. So anyway, they took those 72 drills, they reproduced them, but instead of 90 words on a page, they put 100. I actually followed Fleisch with my drills. I left at 90 like Fleisch had it, but with my own, following my own, the blend phonics scope and sequence. The Victor Drill Book people developed the fluency goals that I showed you on the page in my book where I have how fast kinder, first, second, third, the minimum goals for each one. That came from the original edition of this book. Now the book has been republished. Very good book, well worth having. But for some reason, I don't know, they didn't list those there. But those are based on years of use of this program, in particular in schools in the Midwest where it was first used up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so I notice here that this book on this article on fluency that I just finished reading for you, that here at the end they talk about the Victory Drill book, which is essentially, as far as the way the thing works, exactly the same as my method, which was originally based on Rudolph Fleisch's 72 drills, only I'm using Hazel Loring's outcome. And I believe this, if you care to order the Victory Drill book, I think that, oh, there it is right there. Yeah, there's their website. I just clicked on their website by accident anyway, and there's what their book looks like. Again, mine works basically the same. They don't use the phonovisual charts either with it. And let me get back to my, well, I guess I lost that. Okay, we're going to stop right there. And I haven't indulged you. I know it's been 56 minutes according to my timer up here. So we've gone through my book. We've looked at the article on achieving true fluency. We see how that I have sought to follow that, and the test for it here is the Miller Word Identification Assessment, which I give before and after the assessment. And I might mention these are the first 50 words. It says holistic. That means you read the word as a whole. These are the first 50 words on in the Dolch sight word list. These are simple words. These are actually from Rudolph Fleisch's Why Johnny Can't Read, and all these words are in this program too. So, but anyway, and it has the consonant blends, the CK, simple short vowel words. So I have the students read this list, and what happens, we'll have students maybe miss 2 words up here, and they may miss as many as 20, 25, 30 words down here. That's a sign that they were taught sight words, not phonics words. And the only way that you're ever going to get them to reading well is you've got to start over and teach them to read all the words as with phonics skills, so that they can get their accuracy up. And it actually affects the way that the brain is operating. I won't go into all that. Here's the directions for it. There's a lot of information on Miller's test on my website. And the Morningside generative model, this is just basically more information on precision teaching. And so anyway, we're going to let you go there. I hope that your book my book, if you get it and use it in your schools, in your classroom, will prove as effective for you as it has for me, and that we will be able to bring fluency back into the instruction in our schools and improve our students' educational outcomes. This is Don Potter, and we're signing off, wishing you all the best.